The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the old, decrepit funeral home. Its weathered walls seemed to whisper secrets of the past, and the creaking of the rusty gate sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to venture near. It was Halloween night, and the funeral home was about to host a party like no other. The guests arrived one by one, their costumes a macabre display of horror and darkness. The air was thick with anticipation as they stepped through the heavy wooden doors, their eyes wide with curiosity. The flickering candlelight danced upon the walls, casting eerie shadows that seemed to come alive. The funeral parlor had been transformed into a haunted wonderland. Cobwebs adorned the corners, and the scent of musty, old books filled the air. The guests mingled, their laughter echoing through the halls, but there was an underlying tension, a feeling that something sinister lurked in the shadows. As the night wore on, the party took a darker turn. The guests found themselves drawn to the basement, where the embalming room lay hidden. The flickering lights revealed rows of metal tables, each adorned with gruesome tools of the trade. The air was heavy with the scent of formaldehyde, and the guests couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. Suddenly, a hush fell over the crowd as a figure emerged from the darkness. Dressed in a tattered black cloak, their face hidden beneath a hood, they moved with an eerie grace. The guests watched in awe as the figure approached the center of the room, a gleaming silver dagger clutched tightly in their hand. With a swift motion, the figure plunged the dagger into the heart of a lifeless body lying on one of the tables. Gasps filled the room as the body twitched, then sat up, eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. The guests recoiled in horror as the once dead creature began to move, its limbs jerking with unnatural speed. Panic ensued as the guests realized they were trapped in a nightmare. The undead creatures, once lifeless bodies, now roamed the halls, their hunger for flesh insatiable. The funeral home had become a house of horrors, a place where nightmares came to life. Desperate to escape, the guests scattered, their screams echoing through the halls. But the funeral home seemed to have a mind of its own, its walls shifting and changing, trapping them within its labyrinthine corridors. Each turn led to another dead end, another encounter with the undead. As the night wore on, the guests fought for their lives, their costumes torn and bloodied. The once vibrant party had turned into a fight for survival, a battle against the forces of darkness. But no matter how hard they fought, the funeral home seemed to have a hold on them, its grip tightening with each passing moment. In the end, only a few managed to escape the clutches of the funeral home. They stumbled out into the cold night, their bodies battered and bruised, their minds forever scarred by the horrors they had witnessed. The funeral home stood silent once more, its secrets buried within its walls, waiting for the next unsuspecting victim to stumble upon its dark embrace. And so, the Halloween party at the funeral home became a legend, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones. The memory of that night would forever haunt those who survived, a reminder that sometimes the line between the living and the dead is not as clear as it seems.